So good evening. How are you doing? Kuda Mupawose. Thank you so much for this platform, live chat with Josey today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. Just
Oh,
don't
it's
shoot
very good.
me.
Oh, no, I don't do that. It's very good to have you. So it's a
Okay.
culture here on live chat with Josey that I'll ask you to introduce Kuda Mupawose.
Kuda is it's Kuda Mupawose. Somebody who loves hair, a businesswoman, a mother, a friend, a sister. Yeah, an African woman,
Mm-hmm. All
proudly
right,
African and lover of hair.
great. So where did you grow up? Which school did you go to? How was it growing up back then? I want to know
It,
all.
I grew up in the rural areas of Zimbabwe in Bindura, Musana area or Masembura area. So I went to school in one of the primary schools there at Wairera School. And then after Wairera, I went to Makumbi. And then after Makumbi, I went to Howard. And then I then left to go to the States. I was at Michigan State
Okay.
University. And then I came back and yeah. So I most of my young life I grew up in the rural areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then I only came to Harare, I think, when I was a young adult. Because even during the time that I was doing high school, every time after the holidays, we had to go Kumusha, like in the rural areas, every
Mm-hmm.
holiday. And then during the liberation struggle, then that's when we now started staying in Harare. So yeah, and then I grew up in part of Chitungwiza, Zengeza 3.
Okay.
Yeah, so and then I also did part of, like my primary, I did it in the rural areas. And then during the liberation struggles, when it was a little bit tough, we moved it to Chitungwiza. And then I went to Zengeza for primary school. I'd forgotten about my 2 year stint in the city. And then after the war was over and there was independence, we went back to the rural areas. Then
Okay.
from the rural areas, I went to Makumbi. Then Makumbi, I went to Howard. Then I
Okay.
left the
Interesting. So,
country.
interesting. So I know you as a hair guru. I mean, when I was in Zimbabwe, you took a lot of my money, Kuda,
I still
because
want to take some more.
because I'm one person that can't stay with one hairstyle like for long. I
I know. You're like me.
exactly, and but you're one person that knows how to do her stuff. I was about to
And you
say
are
that.
a tough client.
Yes, I know. So tell me, when did this whole hair issue come into your life? Passion,
You know,
or it was reasons?
it was hair was my hobby. I didn't study hair. My first degree was pharmacology and toxins. But I just used to do hair. So at home, anyone would come, my cousins, I'll do hairstyles, nice hairstyles, eh? I mean, like cornrows, what
Mhm.
we are now calling cornrows. And then when I went to the States, instead of going to work and doing other work, I started doing hair. Is a supplementary, You know how it is when you're in college, you don't have money. So I started braiding people.
Mhm.
And then I got introduced to one lady who had a salon, and she took me under her wing. She taught me everything and how to deal with clients. So I used to work in a salon during the times that I'm off school. And then we developed a relationship that to such an extent that she took me as her mentee, and she used to take me to hair shows. So I started going to hair shows long before I even had a hair salon. But then after I finished, once you finished your university, you're supposed to then go back, especially if you're on a scholarship, which I was on. So I went back and I started working for Caps Holdings, the
Mm-hmm.
pharmaceutical company.
Mm-hmm.
I used to work in their inspectorate department, quality control. And then obviously it's not what I expected. It's so boring. Pharmacy world, I need to apologize, but it's so boring for me. I don't know about other people because there's
Okay.
no because I was not in the research and development, so there was nothing funny. So you're just following somebody else's formulation, and there's no addition, no nothing, and you're just doing control. So I did my stint in the manufacturing, and then I left to do hair. The main reason why I left was that time it was very difficult to stay in a company unless, nepotism,
Uh-huh.
um, sexual abuse. And no, I was not sexually abused, but you needed to have somebody there for you to actually go somewhere. Those that were at CAPS understand what I'm talking about. So I decided to go and become a hairdresser. And obviously it was frowned at from my family. I mean, how do you go to the States and you come back and you become a hairdresser? And during that time, it's the time when it was hairdressers then were taboo. You can't be a hairdresser because it means that you're loose, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I was so determined because I knew, remember, I had a background in the States of how hair was, which was not what hair was in Zimbabwe then. So I needed
Mm-hmm.
to come in and introduce the hair the way I knew how to do black hair, you know. And so I eventually opened my own salon. I think I was 23 then. That's a long time ago.
Oh, wow. So you opened
And
your
I've
your
never
salon.
gone back.
You opened your salon at 23.
Yes.
Wow. That's an
And during that
inspiration right
time,
there.
sorry?
That's an inspiration right there.
Yes. That time, I was not even allowed to open my own bank account. So I had to use my dad's connections to open a bank account, a business bank account. That's how far back it was. And I've never looked back ever since. But then I also, when I came into the hair space, I realized there was a culture where most of the hairdressers kind of like dominated because the owners of the hairdressing salons didn't know what they were doing. So I was determined to be the best in my business because I didn't want to be told by a hairdresser whom tomorrow you wake up, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where my hair then journey began to try and be the best in my business. So it was a
Mm-hmm.
hobby that I turned into a business.
Okay. All right. So
Mm.
then we Feso came to play. I mean, that's your baby. People know you
Yes,
as Mrs. Feso, Madam Feso, Sister Feso. I mean, Feso is a big deal, like all over,
it is.
not just in Zimbabwe, not just in Africa.
Yeah, it is. It is.
So
I think
what?
that's, Josie, I think it's a God thing. And I think also when you go out of your way to do something that you enjoy doing. So I do love to do hair. So I can actually do hair for no money. If I had a rich husband, I'm sure I could just be doing hair.
What do you mean a rich husband?
No, you know how it is. I mean, it's just an expression that, I can
You
focus
can
on
do
it
it
as a hobby.
yourself. I
No,
know
I'm doing
you.
it myself, girl. I'm doing it myself. No apologies, but I'm just saying how much I love hair. I can do hair for free. That's how much I love it. So in the years that I was doing hair, I think most of the time I would travel to the States because you know what? America is very big on African hair and they are way ahead of us. So every year I would go for hair shows. At one time I had a salon in the States. I used to take Zimbabweans to America to do hair, and then I left that, and then I started running my own business in Zimbabwe and in South Africa. And then when I went back to Zimbabwe in 2014, I realized that a lot of people's hair was breaking, you know. And also there was
And
this
what was the reason? What was the reason?
because of now I know what is the reason, but that time I was not very much aware because I was
Okay.
also participating in whatever was happening in the hair space.
Mm.
So, but what bothered me were two issues. Number one, the little girls that I used to do hair, now they were calling me Auntie Kuda. And now my hair clients, now they were always wearing wigs. No one was wearing their own hair because now the hairline had moved from here to there. And, they're wearing wigs, they're wearing weaves. So I was not happy with that. So I started advocating for natural hair. But this is also, remember the trips that I'd been going to the States, I realized that there was a natural hair movement. So I just jumped into the word back on, of natural hair movement. But it worried me more that my clients were losing hair. So I realized that most of those ladies, they would come to my salon, I would put a relaxer on them, and then immediately they get their hair braided and put a weave on.
Relaxer, then immediately braid.
Yes.
Oh wow.
So for me, I started educating my clients. There was no reason why they would put a relaxer at the same time
Then braid.
cover the hair. Yeah, but this is a trend that is
Oh well,
happening.
I used to be guilty of that. I mean, I also used to do that, but only now it makes sense
Yeah, because
I
it
mean,
didn't make sense. So I tried to, but it was a culture that was happening. It makes money. I mean, you do a relaxer, then you put a weave, there's more money that's coming out of the client. But now I was looking at the future of the hair. So I started now a trend. Remember, I said the face came because of two things.
yeah.
One, when I went back, the little girls I used to do hair, they were now calling me Auntie Kuda.
Okay.
Remember? And that bothered me. It meant that I'm old.
Getting old.
And what it meant, there's a progression from Auntie Kuda. It means that very soon I was going to be called Gogo Kuda, and meaning, how can people come to the salon and say we are going at Gogo Kuda salon? So it just didn't sound so wrong, I mean, it just didn't sound so right. So it was so wrong for me. I guess, the classy coaches in Zimbabwe was coming into play. So,
Yeah.
so I found myself asking if I wanted to be a go-go doing people's hair. And so I started falling to back to school. So that's when now I started looking for other things, but without leaving hair, because I love hair and I'd made a successful business with hair. So now I was looking at my clients who are losing hair, and that's when I started this study on why are my clients losing hair. I discovered, this issue of you relax your hair, and then soon after you put your weave, or you put a wig, or you put the gel up. So I now started looking at the science of hair, and that's when I discovered, oh, I could actually be a hair doctor. And I started now looking for that path, and that's a path that I started going into. And then I also wanted to find out the natural ways of correcting that issue. And
Okay.
then I tumbled on the issue of feso, because I'd gone, I'm the rural area girl, so I'd gone there to see my mom. She was still alive that time, and I had not carried shampoo for her. So she was like
Okay,
asking,
so
wants me
so
to.
because you grew up in the rural areas,
Yeah.
you went back to look for whatever you used to use to wash your
No, no,
hair.
no, no.
Or am I right?
It,
No?
no, 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 no. I'm saying I remember I'm a rural girl, so I'd
Hmm.
gone to see my mom.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So because and like every time I would go, I would bring her, goodies. So one of the goodies was shampoo. So I had not done that. So so in the conversation, she said, "So you want me to use Feso?" So it
Mm-hmm.
was in this conversation that Feso started. So I was like, "No,
Okay.
what is Feso?" And then she told me about how they used to wash hair using Feso. And I was like, oh, okay. Where is it? Because remember, I'm already on a journey of trying to make something for people that are losing hair. And I'm hearing there's a herb that people used to use to wash hair. So I was curious and I took some Feso and then went to town with it. One thing led to the other, and today we are where we are.
Wow.
And now
So,
we are actually having a PhD on FASO. We're doing a
wow.
research on FASO. Yeah, so that has been the journey.
Interesting. So Kuda Feso is in how many countries right now? I mean, I know you have a lot of girls that are also working, I can't say working for you, but working with you in different countries. Feso,
I've
so,
got active agencies in 31 countries. It's just that we kind of the most of the agencies right now are running out of the product because of the
COVID-19.
COVID.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but otherwise we had active people. Yeah,
Mm. But how
in
has it
31
been?
countries. Sorry?
The Feso journey, how how is it being accepted and embraced around the world?
Okay, first, so for me, I was first accepted in the States, which is
Before even
very,
Zimbabwe.
yeah, people in
Oh.
Zim were very skeptical, and most of them they knew me from the hairdressing aspect, so they don't know my background. They didn't know my background, and now they were like, okay, we know Kuda. And
Mm-hmm.
some of the hairdressers would look at me and would see me I'm not saying I'm trying to diss somebody, but understanding that somebody, at least maybe this person might know something that I don't know, but they saw us on the same level. So
Mm.
coming up with Feso is just another hairdresser without fully understanding coming up with a product. So it was kind of not really accepted. But the people who are accepting FESO is the Zimbabweans in the diaspora. So
Ah.
you find that people who were like in England would send their relatives to me to buy
To get
FESO.
Feso.
Yes.
And then these relatives will even source the Feso for them, but they won't use and accept it in Zimbabwe.
No, only then when their relatives were now talking about FESO. So FESO started from outside to come back into Zimbabwe. Which, yeah, but that's
But
who
it
we
was very
are, isn't
easy.
it?
It was very easy for you to convince me when I was in Zimbabwe. I mean, I was using Feso
Well, no,
all
no,
my
no, no,
money.
no. When I
Sometimes I would
say,
even, yeah, I know, I get you. But sometimes I would even hide when I come to buy it, hide from my husband because this bottle, when the first time I showed him that, I think it was $20, right?
yes,
I bought this and I would spray because I want else to come out like quickly. And
and
then
it
it
did.
finishes and it did. And I mean, look at my hair now. It,
Yeah, but I guess it's a culture that we have. It's, like they always say that a prophet is not celebrated where they come from.
in his own
So
home.
I totally understand, but now um, they have accepted it. You still have other people that still have issues, but for those that um, are serious about getting their hair, and those that don't just buy and then use it for 2 weeks and see no results and don't come back to me, they obviously maybe have kind of like gave up, but the bulk of the people that haven't given up do have good
Okay.
results.
Interesting. So then, before we came, before when we're discussing about hair and things like that, it's something that you said that really shocked me, Kuda. Relaxers actually cause fibroids. That came
Yes.
as a shocker to me because I have a lot of relatives, I have a lot of friends, I have a lot of people that I know that are suffering with fibroids, and just to think that it could be just probably hair relaxer that caused
Yes.
it. I mean, it's amazing. It's
Yes.
scary.
I know. Like I said, Josie, when I started, I'm also guilty of applying people relaxers. And even myself, I've been natural for 20 years now, but there was a time that I used the relaxers. It's just that for me, because of how my scalp is very sensitive, so you find that I tended to not relax my hair, and again, the type and texture of my hair, I can just blow dry and look like I've relaxed my hair. So I'm one of the few lucky ones. So, but the bulk of people, yes, relaxers do cause fibroids. There's new researches that have happened, and there are documents, and people shouldn't just take our word for it. Go and do your own research.
No, but could that
Relaxers
way?
do.
No, because I mean, I'm putting a relaxer on my head, and then
Yes.
it goes to affect
Yes, it
my,
does.
it's like how? I mean, I know I will read and I want other
It's
people to read, but just explain a little bit like how does it happen?
okay. So take for example, when you do relaxer, you there is two things that will happen. In most cases, the relaxer itself, it bends your scalp skin, right? So you are gonna get lesions there, and the chemicals seeps through into your system and goes and changes your hormones. So the estrogen
Ah,
actually then you now have more, because the more estrogen that you have, it actually then promotes the growth of fibroids.
ah,
Because remember, your scalp, there's hair is an extension of your skin.
is the
Did
what?
you know
Sorry.
that? Hair is an extension of your skin.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever is happening to your hair is happening can it goes to your skin. And what is your skin is part of your what? It's part of you, right? And their pores here, so they go in and deep, they go into your system, into your blood system. So the chemicals will change the hormones, and then you have, because they stimulate estrogen, which then stimulates the growth of fibrosis. So as a result, they then grow. And if you notice, I'm not saying that white people don't have fibroids, but if you notice they're more severe on black people, it's mainly because of relaxers. And the researches have been done, and they've proved actually that it's because of that. And if you notice, there are so many people that are suffering from fibroids. And if you ask them, all of them, they've had a relaxer. And it's unfortunate that, when the relaxers, when they produce them, unlike where they said tobacco, you're supposed to write this tobacco might cause you, the chemicals are not supposed to be written, they are not mandatory to be written on the box.
Yes, yes, yes. Uh-huh.
And it has not been mandatory for companies that produces relaxers to actually write that,
But do
because this
they
is,
know? But do they know though?
I would want to believe that they know, or if they didn't know, they now know. Because it's been, I mean, like, remember, like the court order that I showed you, the federal
Mm-hmm.
court order in the States.
Mm-hmm.
That happened in 1995, 1993, for that that relaxing company, that chemical, the product, the products company, without naming names, that lawsuit happened in 1993. And that's a court order, 1993. So it's been discovered that long back. It's just that in Africa, we tend not to read and we tend not to know some of these things. Because some of the relaxers, you will not find that kind of relaxer in the States. And they've phased it out in the States. You only find it in Africa.
All right, so I have people, there's someone also asking, who's watching us, asking if Feso works for men baldness. I mean, men are going bald. A lot of all these men are going bald. So someone is asking is if Feso.
Yes, Feso does work for everyone, including black, white, Indian, male and female. And it's safer to use even on kids. But when I say kids, I'm doing it with inverted commas. Why am I saying that? Because remember, a child, when you give birth to a child, their hair changes and their hair will fall. So, and their immune system is still growing. So I would not advise you to use Feso on your child. Because what you're just doing is you are stimulating your child's immunity before it's ready to do that. So I would not advise people to use on kids, but I started using Feso on my daughter when she was 4 years old. Now she's 10.
When she was how old?
4.
4 years old, okay. And what about the weaves, Kuda? Let's talk about the weaves. I mean, there's been issues about our lovely Brazilian hairs, our Indian remis, and things like that.
The sad thing about weaves, is that 90% of where we then go and get our hair done, they don't do or don't follow proper procedure on how you're supposed to do what on the hair or on the weave. Like, take for example, if you buy your weave, I would advise you to wash it first. Okay. Maybe in hot water, and then deep condition it. Then you can put it on your hair. But I wouldn't put weaves on my head, personally.
You've never, or only now you won't? I'm sure.
To be honest, you know what, Josey? Like I said, you remember I said some of the things my body was refusing, which is something that a lot of black women, we don't pay attention to. Your skin tells you that I don't like a weave, but we still keep it on. So 90% of the people that have weaves, you'll find that they've got rash all over their face.
If it's synthetic, Kuda, that can we buy come 100%.
Even really? Human hair. Because remember, the human hair, there are very, very few people that can afford real hair.
Yeah.
Because most of this hair has got fiber in it. So it depends on what is the fiber that they mixed it with your human hair. Obviously, I don't know, maybe other people, you and me, maybe we can buy here and there, but real good hair, you can't buy it. Josey, you can't just be buying real good hair. It's expensive. So most of it, they tend to use fibers. Obviously, they won't tell you, but I'm being honest, it's not all 100% human hair. And you can actually look at it. That's why it's important for you, when you buy your weave, wash it. You will be able to tell the difference between the two, the real hair and the fiber.
I didn't even know that, Kuda. No, I mean, I'll just buy my weaves and I didn't know. Because I mean, it's packed, it's packed, it's new. I mean, who would think of it's the same as when we go.
Okay, so when they process the weave, okay, let's talk about human hair, right? So when they cut it from the people that they do get it from, it goes through, sometimes they wash it, sometimes if it's clean they don't wash it. Well, I'm assuming they all wash. I'm just being nasty, but but then they have to treat it, right? So when it's treated by chemicals that you don't know what chemical it was treated with. And then you just buy it and you just put it directly onto your hair. Hair is spiritual, and I don't know whether you want me to go that route.
That's why we are here. That's why we're here. We want to learn. I know hair is spiritual. I had that and I told
Hair
myself,
is
no.
political. Hair is spiritual. Hair has got finance issues. Hair has got healthy issues. So I don't want to start
No,
a
let's start
war with it.
spiritual. Let's go spiritual. What do you mean hair is spiritual?
How do you just because my hair, so many people do so many things culturally. Let's go culturally, which then I mean in different cultures they do things differently for their spirituality, right? Like take for example Indians, when they shave their hair, it means something. They go and they offer it. You don't know what it has been offered to, Josey, and then you
Sacrifice.
just and you don't know, maybe they're saying, I'm having all
I want
this
all my evil spirits to go, and
to go
the
into
next
this
person
year.
who's going to get, oh my God,
No, but that's the truth. That's the truth. That's the reality. If you never, okay, I used to have a hairdresser who used to, if they do my hair, I will have a headache. Not because it was tight, but there's just a heaviness that would come through. I don't know if you've experienced it. There are other people that when they are touching your hair, or maybe you're just not paying attention, you're just interested in how
Yeah.
your hair looks. But like so we're talking about hair being offered as a spiritual something, right? So you don't know, even not, let's bring it home in the natural, in our African context. Josey, if you wake up today and you don't have a piece of hair and
Of
it
your
has
hair.
disappeared,
Ah,
what happens?
witches. Witches.
You
Start
see?
praying. Yes.
And even when you are cutting your hair, well, I grew up in the rural areas. When you're cutting your hair, you are told gather all your hair and you
Yes,
burn it.
yes,
Why?
yes. Mm.
Why? So
Well,
there
I
is
thought it was just, I thought it was all these, beliefs.
belief of what?
I don't know. I mean, our parents, our grandparents, how these people are. If you sit by the
It's
door, what? Don't sit on the tar. If you sit on the tar, you're going to have marks. A lot of things. I would
Well,
just
some
take
of
it.
these things, yes, but most of these things they were being done to protect us from something that we probably don't know about it. But I am telling you about what I know about hair. Hair is spiritual, Josie. You don't just want to take, and I see people buy locks from somebody. You don't know what if
Yes.
they've been, I mean, they've been doing ancestral worship on their hair in, and then you come, you buy and you put on your hair. Guys, you don't know what you're taking on, whether you believe it or you don't. It's almost like Josie, take for example, I don't know, I've never been to Fiji, right, the island.
Mm, mm.
But if somebody tells me that I know because I've looked through the pictures and everything, but there's somebody who doesn't even know that there's a place called Fiji. But does that mean that it doesn't exist?
Yeah.
So just because you don't know about it, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Hair is spiritual.
And political? How is hair political?
Political. Oh, let's go. Let's go back to Zimbabwe. I don't know. I mean, bankers today. I don't know about other. I don't know about now, but I'm talking about 3 years ago. I had, my clientele, right?
Yes.
Most of my clientele is high end,
Mm.
but they could never have that hairstyle that you have to go to work. It's called unprofessional. What does that mean? Then, I mean, lawyers never used to wear dreadlocks because it was considered unprofessional. Bank tailors could not wear that hairstyle that you have. it was considered unprofessional. What is that? Is that not political? And then when you
Well,
got it
not
is.
re- well, I think it's not just about different people what they believe in, because I know a lot of bankers who actually have like short hair, like they will
No,
not
short hair
oh,
they
you mean
have.
like the whole funky
Yes.
hairstyle? Ah, okay.
Yes. Why? What is wrong with that? Is that not
Well,
political?
yeah, but I think times are changing, right? Kuda? Maybe back then. Is it still happening?
Well, I'm talking about 2 years ago.
Okay.
They'll tell me, no, please, can I have okay, I know somebody who's got sister locks, but every time she's going to work, she wears a wig.
Maybe they are not yet full, Kuda. You know, I also had problems when I
No, no,
once
no,
put
no.
them that they
They're
were.
long. I mean, they're long. They're almost shoulder length. She actually can tie into a ponytail. And I've tried to. So what I'll do is I remember doing a style on her sister locks, and then I told her, no, now you can go like this. She did that for 2 3 days, and then she says one of the HR ladies looked at her like, and then she just
In a
had to
funny
put a
way.
wig back. Yeah, in a funny
No,
way.
I think that probably it's just her. I mean,
And
well,
then we talk about schools, you know, like in Zimbabwe, we call ourselves independent, right?
mm.
Can your child go to school like with that hair?
My
Because
boys
that's a hair.
actually, my boys actually have this now.
No, no, no. I'm talking about in Zimbabwe.
Oh no, yes, definitely not.
Why?
You're right.
But this is even more. It should be fine more in Africa, right? Because this is African hair. Why do we think that is inappropriate? Is that
Wow,
not political?
it is.
So you see, without even going into slave trade, because if I want to go to slave trade, that's a that's a
What about
whole.
what about slave trade? I mean, slave. I think people were shaving, right? Slave
Why
trade.
were they being shamed? Okay,
Yeah, I'm
take for
asking.
example,
They were right.
they were first they were told to shave their hair, and also they were told why do you think the dukes, those dukes that they started wearing, in the slave trade, if you do the history on slave trade, it was
Mm.
because they didn't want to show people, when they were braiding it. Look at the back of my pictures, like this
Yeah,
pictures,
yeah.
you know
I see that. Like locks.
they
Those are
were
like
not allowed to do this. They were not allowed to do that. So they were told to actually either shave it. That's how relaxers came. And because of fibroids, you then, like you're saying, I'm not saying that they know that they cause fibroids. I don't know that because I haven't asked them. But fibroids, what do they cause? They cause you not to have
in,
children.
infertility. Yes.
Is that not political?
Oh my word. You're scaring me.
But it's the truth.
It is. It is. Only now that you're talking. I mean, that's why I say when you were trying to talk to me before, I was like, no, this needs a live, because yes, you're talking to me. I am getting this. I am getting like, I was actually getting goosebumps when you're telling me all these things. And I felt like you're telling me, but how many women know this? Because I have friends, I have relatives that that have
And they're
fibroids,
struggling
and
to have babies.
they're still even using relaxers
Yes,
because
and
they
they're
don't know.
struggling. If you go to a gynae, they'll tell you, oh no, it's just a growth. We don't know what it is and whatever. It's only now, because now we are hair conscious, and we are now, as Black people, we are now going into the deeper science of our own hair. But before, we used to be okay. Take for example, I'm not dissing my school. But most of the books that are there are for white hair. So when we're talking about hair loss studies that hair loss studies have been done on white hair. So some of the diseases, so you go to a dermatologist, they will give you what is being taught there. And all these things are new discoveries and people going out of their way to actually discover, And I want to shout out to Professor Ndlova, she's in KZN. She's a black woman gunning out for black hair, understanding black hair. So these are things that were dished to us. Relaxers, yes, it looks nice. And I'm not saying people shouldn't relax their hair. Please.
No, but come on,
I'm
Kuda, you
not.
can't say that. You are
Yeah.
supposed to actually advise people not to use relaxers. I mean,
No. What I'm saying is, I'm not telling people not to use relaxers, but I'm telling people that if you do use relaxer, use it at this expense of knowing that. Because stats actually show that every 3 women with relaxers, 2 have got fibroids.
The thing is, people don't know. Like you said on the boxes, they don't write the side effects. I'm sure the only thing that we are scared of is burning our scalps and things like that. But to think about hair relaxers causing fibroids, I'm so sure that a lot of people don't know, Kuda.
No,
And
I
that
know.
takes me actually to my that actually takes me to my next question, that you are one of the very few lucky people to know this. So what are you doing in your own capacity to make sure that other women know these things, Kuda?
Well, in my salon in Zimbabwe, we don't use relaxers anymore. And anyone who comes wanting a relaxer, we actually do not. It's just by conviction that I'm not going to do that to you. I'll tell you to go to somebody else. If you want me to style your hair, I can do it. I have no problem, but I will not put a relaxer on you.
But do you explain why not?
Yes, I do explain. I do
Okay.
talk about it now. I do talk about it. In my clinic here in South Africa, in any case, we don't do more of hair. What we do here is more of hair loss treatments, and we grow people's hair. In South Africa, we just grow people's hair and we do hair covers for people that already you've got your issues, you've got hair that's now here, and you're trying to grow your hair. Yes, we can do a hair cover to make sure that when you go out, nobody needs to know what's underneath and you look like you've got hair. And we try and not put your weaves. We try and use fibers that I know will not harm you, but at the same time will give you a look like what you have, Josey, or what I have.
Okay. But are you also getting a lot of men as clients? I mean, for hair loss and stuff like that?
Actually, because Feso is being now used. Okay, this was not my discovery. It was discovered by one of the clients. They're using it for growing their beard. So with this beard movement. So now
beard.
Yes, I
Really?
didn't know. But this client, yeah, so, and he did his posting. So it's actually on our flyer. I'll send you the flyer with him. And he's got beard, and he gave 2 of his friends, and they all have beard. So they are using it. So I do have guys who want to grow beard. And then I also have guys, mainly Indian guys, and a few black guys who don't want this thing. Male type balding. But yeah, I do have maybe about 40%.
So I know first. So the
plant.
The plant itself. I mean, a lot of places in Zimbabwe has that. I know you contribute to employment in Zimbabwe in your salon.
Yes.
And do you also have women and men in rural areas that are also supplying you the plant, the feso plant, and stuff?
I've got now they are, well, I lost 2. They're now 13. They're old women. So these women are old women that are looking after, one of them was my friend's mom. One of them, the child was my friend, and she died of HIV. So her 2 kids are being looked after the mom. So initially I used to pay their fees in the rural areas. But then when the FESO thing came, so I recruited her and she recruited these other women also. So during December to February, that's when we do the harvesting. So they do the harvest for me, and then I go
It's
and
seasonal.
collect.
It's seasonal.
Sorry? Yes, it's seasonal.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. But there's plenty of it in Zimbabwe, right?
Not only in Zimbabwe, even here in South Africa, even in Nigeria.
Yeah, I
It's
know, but
just
I'm
that
talking
it
about
has
Zimbabwe.
different
I mean,
names.
I'm talking about Zimbabwe. Come on. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It's
Mm.
actually, and I've also discovered that it's also in Northern America.
Okay.
So it's just that it has different names and but it's the same plant.
What is the other? There's
The
a.
what?
Is it this thing that even if you have like acne and stuff, if you,
Yes,
it's the
yes.
same
Because
thing.
you can
Okay.
use,
So.
because now I've got a cream now that I use. I mean that I've made out of that together with Kigelia. You know Kigelia. It's another plant in Zoom. They call it sausage tree. It's also here in South Africa. So together with them, because people long time ago, time immemorial, they used to use it to cure measles.
Mhm.
It's also used to cure things like arthritis. I've got a tea now for Feso. I'm yet to launch it, but I've done all the tests. But yeah, the cream people, I've got clients now using the cream, and this is for your skin. And
Mhm.
then the tea, I've got people that are testing it and they're drinking it and it's working for them. It's for arthritis. This is just a one plant that is so much full with herbal properties, which is something that as Africans we need to jump in and create IPs of these plants because somebody will come and claim it.
Someone
I
is
think what
actually,
I did.
yeah. Someone is
No,
actually
on this
asking
one I
me.
did. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
All right, no, I was about to read. And someone is asking, is Feso the one that is an okra effect? I think, Feso
Yes,
is, yes.
yes. It's also it's edible. So some people use it as okra.
Hmm? I lost you there.
I'm saying it's edible. Some people use it as okra. They can eat it. Yes, it's the
Really?
same. Yeah.
Have you eaten it before?
Yes, I've tasted it.
Kuda, can you eat Feso? Yeah.
Yes, you can. Because remember,
Really?
Joyce, what are we talking about relaxers? What did we say about
So,
relaxers?
so, so tell me something then. If you can eat it, maybe it can be a solution for these women with fibroids.
I don't know. I don't
Just
know. I
thinking.
know that Feso is a DHT blocker, which is
Uh,
dihydrotestosterone blocker,
uh,
which is the reason why when you put it on guys that have started balding, their hair comes back because a lot of testosterone goes and sits here. And so because when you spray, so it's a blocker, so it does block DHT. So maybe I don't know, but it's something that we can always research.
It'll be good because I mean, this is something, well, not that you've discovered, but you got to know before many
Mm.
women that hair relaxers actually cause fibroids. But then there are women that used hair relaxers ignorantly. They didn't know that this is a side effect. And
Yeah,
it's a pity that a lot of them now are suffering. Some of them have lost even their womb. Some of them are infertile.
which is very sad, Josie.
It's very
That's why
sad.
I was saying
And I
it's
don't think you're really speaking enough, like speaking out enough, Kuda, because you know these things I didn't know. And thanks to you, now I know.
okay. You know what, Josie? I
For
think
once.
we need to have smart partnerships. I am not a marketer. I don't know how to advertise that much. Yes, I know, and I know it's within my space of influence to teach my people, which is why I'm talking to you. But I don't mind if there are other people that are out there who want me to talk more about it. I don't have a problem. if people want, I know some people would, want proper research documents and everything. I've got all that and I can give them. But see, the fact that we're talking about it, it's the start. You guys are the ones that know how to talk about it. And if you want information about anything, I'm game.
All right, so then you started Feso Africa. This is a very big deal, your baby. But what are some of the challenges that you've been facing so far?
For starters, capital, but then capital, it kind of comes in different it's different levels. At one time, when I was in Zim, I thought I nailed it, and we were, because then I got in, I've got a partner who also invested in the company. And then, the economic situation in Zimbabwe let us down. And then now you have to start again, because working capital is very hard, because all these things, it's not on borrowed money, it's on financing. But also at the same time, it's one thing to go out there and you borrow money, and there's very little outtake of the product. Now that the people have knowledge about it, I've got retained business and I've got referrals from clients that have actually worked, and now it's now on logistics, because that's one of, running a business. It's no longer the same as doing hair. This is a totally different ballgame, Josey. And
I know, I can imagine
I
the
am
bottles and stuff. I mean,
I
how do you
am not
manage that?
I'm not an operations person. I just love to do hair, put me in a lab, mix things. That's what I love to do. But I'm having, and again, because you don't have much of working capital, I know what needs to be done, but it's challenging. If I know there's logistics that needs happening, there's a marketing side that needs happening, and unfortunately, COVID came through and kind of delays the things that you would have planned to do, but hopefully we are not going to fall down. No, definitely we're not going to fall down because
Yeah.
of COVID. But obviously we're going to be delayed. But it's been hard, Josie, I don't want to lie. And also then I had to move country, and then it's easier to do business in South Africa. And it's also because there's logistics involved in my business. So you needed to be in an area where you can actually send your product to the States, and it gets there, not at exorbitant prices. So there's been a lot of learning, trial and error, and we are not yet out of the woods, but I can say we are safe. And I'm hoping, we were hoping to actually start proper manufacturing. When I say proper manufacturing, because currently we've been doing it in my house, and
Okay. South
now we're
Africa.
doing it in, sorry?
In South Africa or both South Africa and Zimbabwe?
No, I've just been doing, because remember, because in Zimbabwe the quality of packaging was not what I wanted. So most of the time I had to import from South Africa. And then they introduced the SIT, whatever, I don't know, some policy that stopped us from importing raw material. I mean, like packaging, because there are companies in Zimbabwe that produces packaging, but it was not to the quality that I wanted. So it posed a lot of challenges in importing that. So it only made sense to come and manufacture in South Africa.
Okay, yeah, that
and
makes sense.
then and then capitalize on the fact that South Africa and Zimbabwe is on SADC, and then you capitalize on those country bilateral agreements, so that at least I can take my product into Zimbabwe as if it's being manufactured also in Zimbabwe.
Okay, interesting.
So there's been a lot of learning.
Mm. Because I remember the last time I saw you, you were celebrating. I think you had worked on your barcode clicks and things
Yes,
like that. Yes, I remember. So
yes.
all I can say is I've watched you grow. I've watched a part of your journey. Well done, Kuda. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
It found us here. It will leave us here. It won't affect us. It won't make us go down. But before we wrap up and before I let you go, any advice or to your clients, your friends that are watching us now, I mean, and even some people that are watching us in terms of hair, in terms of safety, in terms of all these side effects, in terms of just women and men taking good care of their hair and themselves?
Well, I'm gonna give you advise hair color. It's I hope you are not using peroxide mixed colors, because they also have a bad effect on you and also on your hair. That's why you find a lot of people. The color will come out really nice, but it has got side effects. Color does cause cancer, and that's another subject for another day. But I would advise, yes, you will not, like, take for example the color that I have now. It's this, I haven't come to this level once. I've done it over and over and over. So I would say, like, use your henna colors. The colors that you mix with water are more safer for our black hair
You say the colors that you
than
mix with what?
with water.
Okay.
They will not give you a vibrant color the very first time, but constantly using it, eventually it will come right. The Indians got it right there, because having to mix hair color with which is with peroxide is not a good thing. But
Wow.
you can also look at it. Yes, that will cause cancer. There is new study has shown that hair color does actually cause cancer. So take care of yourself. Don't just apply things.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Kuda. I learned a lot today, and I will always continue to learn. It's just the beginning. There are so many topics that we need to talk about. Like, I mean, obviously the cancer thing for the
The
next time,
polit.
but yes, there are many topics that we will talk about. So thank you so much for joining me today. Until next time, have a
Thank you,
blessed
Josie, for
evening.
having me. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for watching. Thank you, Kuda. Take care.
All right. Bye.